Hello, everyone. It's Debbie Gilbert from the Best Business Women Awards. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Fiona Scott from Scott PR. And she is a journalist and has many, many years' experience in dealing with the press. And we thought it'd be quite good, Fiona, didn't we, to talk about what not to do when trying to get your story out there? Because awards generate press interest, don't they? But
Yeah.
let's talk
Yes.
about what shouldn't people do. So they win an award. What should they
Yeah.
do, and what shouldn't they do?
Okay. Well, first of all, is don't send a press release to the national journalists. Okay. Generally, I wouldn't do that, except in very specific circumstances. I wouldn't do that anyway on any subject. But for an award, focus local. Because local press want to write about local people, and many businesses, both service and product based, if they actually look at their invoices, will get a lot of their customers from their locality. So start there, because those journalists will want to write about the fact that you've got an award. Use a lovely picture that you will have got from the award ceremony, and actually make the effort to have a picture done at the award ceremony. You wouldn't believe how many people don't do that, Debbie. So start there. And then the other thing not to do is just forget your award and never ever mention it again. That's daft. Because actually awards give you credibility for probably at least 2 years. So that when an opportunity comes along, particularly at a national level, those journalists think, oh, that person's got an award. I'll just look those awards up and see if they're credible. And it gives them confidence in dealing with you on another day. So, so start with that mindset.
So when you're sort of putting together a press release, I mean, should you be sharing stuff about your backstory and how you got the award, or just talking about the award?
Oh, no. Always share a bit of your backstory. Now, the thing with this is everyone has loads of stories they can tell. So what you have to do is you have to make a judgment about, well, how much backstory do I give? How much is relevant? Well, just think, you've got to put yourself in context. So, for instance, maybe you started your business in the last 3 years. Maybe you started it 30 years ago. Journalists need to know where you fit in the business landscape. So put some of that backstory in. And if you're struggling with this, I'd say a couple of paragraphs really is usually enough. So the award is the today angle. It's the thing that's happening now. Okay. But you always need a bit of the past. The award is the present. And then you can, if you want, at the end, put future in. So it might be, and over the next year, Fiona Scott of Scott Media is planning to write her second book, or planning to employ another 10 people. So what that tells the journalist is, I'm credible in the past, this is what I'm doing now, and I'm going to be credible in the future. So just, if you're struggling with this, you want the today angle first, the present, bit of the past that gives context and interest, and maybe, if you want to, a little bit of the future. Don't make the press release too long. You're not writing an essay. Absolute max 1,000 words. Think one side of A4 in old money. That's what you have to think of. Don't write a big long essay, because they won't read it.
No. And should you put photos in or not? What's the kind of rules on that?
Okay. Here's a big no-no. Okay. If you are a detailed person that wants to craft a perfect press release and embed your photos and put your logo on, those are no-nos. No-nos, because a journalist will receive that information. They want to copy and paste the bits they like. If you embed photographs, they'll be very poor resolution. So it might make you feel good when it leaves you, but it's a bugger for a journalist to unpick to fit within their systems. And many journalists are freelancers, so they'd have to send the press release to an editor to unpick it. And I'm telling you, folks, they won't do it. They'll just move on to the next person. So never have a press release that's a PDF. That is a complete no-no unless a journalist asks you for that. You do send a photograph, but as a separate JPEG attachment. Okay. Or you can also, if you want, so let's just say someone won one of yours to Debbie, and they've got 10 really lovely images from that event that they're very happy to be made public. You can send a Dropbox link. So you can say in the editor's note, there are 10 photographs available of this event. You can access them via this Dropbox link, but make sure the link works so the journalists can actually get in and download it. They don't want to be entering passwords or passcodes or anything like that, because you will have lost them. Yeah. So that's the way you deal with that. A picture will increase by at least 50 to 70% the chance of that story being used.
Cool. And in terms of, should the press release be in the body of the email or as an attachment on a Word document?
I prefer in the body of the email, but actually it's a 50-50 mix. So it's very much up to you. I just think journalists are busy people, and the more clicks and the more you ask them to do, they're going to move on to the next person who's quicker to deal with. Now, that may sound harsh, but a local journalist will get every day between 400 and 1,000 emails to go through. Wow. So in business, we think, oh, we're really busy, we get lots of emails. It is nothing to a local journalist. So you have to, and same for sector-specific journalists as well. Probably not quite so many, but still a lot. So you've got to make it easy for them. That makes you noticeable. So
these are all amazing tips. I was really lucky to come to your last event, which was held in a beautiful venue, I have to say, in the Cotswolds. And I met the lovely Claire, who's one of the journalists that you work with. And we were able to talk to Claire about our stories and pitch ideas. Oh my God, it was amazing. I mean, I've been in business for 20 years and I have never been able to sit with a journalist talking about stories. And I know the other businesses found it really, really useful. And you've got another one of these events coming up, haven't you?
Yeah. I've got one on Wednesday, the 26th of June, same venue, Cotswold Park Barns in the Cotswolds. Yeah. You know, back in the day, I used to myself, when I started out, try and attend events in London where I could speak to journalists. Being a journalist myself, I know that journalists are super connectors. And we're a small bunch of people in the UK and we all talk to each other. So it's hugely valuable. These days, it's so hard to get face-to-face with a national journalist or even with a local journalist. I mean, how many people who are watching this have actually made the effort to find out who their local journalists are, say, do you want to go out for coffee or lunch, and actually follow through, because they might have to make 2 or 3 months. So for a national journalist, it is hen's teeth to be able to spend time with them and listen to what they're looking for. What are they looking for? Yeah. Who do they want to deal with? And so I decided in 2024, I'd try and find at least journalists who were up for meeting small business owners, charity representatives, other PR companies, and forge relationships. And so you've already done one. You met Claire O'Reilly, who came, and every person who attended that day can now keep in contact with Claire and share their expertise, follow her on social media, see if she's looking for something in particular. And the thing is, let's just say she's looking to do something on women who've built a business up from nothing. Debbie, you could go for that. Many of us could go for that. Who is she going to go for? The 10 randoms she's never met before, or Debbie, who she's met before and knows? She's going to go for Debbie. And that's the point of these days, that you form a relationship and you enter their little black book. And you keep in conversation with them over time, so they remember you when it suits them, not when it suits you. So my next journalist is Liz Perkins. She works on 2 national newspapers as a freelance, and we'll be doing exactly the same thing. We'll be brainstorming stories. I'll be getting people to share their expertise, so that when Liz is looking for an expert, she can just pick up the phone or drop an email to someone she's met in the room that day. And I'll probably have time to do one more of these events at the end of the year. And then I'll start planning what to do next year. And I cannot stress to anyone, you know, watching this, how rare it is to be able to spend a day. And I can only take 20 people. That's the most I can take. That's the absolute max. How rare it is to be able to spend a day with a national journalist who will talk to other national journalists, who will spread the word about good contacts with other journalists. And I promise you, if you help them once, they'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because they're like everybody. I mean, they've got time starved, aren't they? So if they can start to build up a bank of contacts, perhaps people directly that can help them with the story, or people who know people, which is kind of the conversation Claire and I had, because obviously we've had over 1,000 women through the awards programme. So we have that capacity to go, oh yeah, we know someone in that field or that field. We can pass the details on. I will definitely put the details in the comments of your next event. And if people can't make that date, then obviously get in contact with you for details of future events, or just to kind of get into your world, really. So we'll make sure that's shared. Let's just talk at the end a little bit about some of the success stories that you've had, because you work with some amazing people. One of them happens to be one of our winners from a few years ago, Julianne Poonen. But you also work with Paralympians and all kinds of people, don't you? So you've had some amazing success stories with PR.
Yeah, I'm incredibly lucky that I work with a range of people from different backgrounds. So currently I work with Paralympian, he's called Chris Hunt Skelly, MBE. So Chris is currently trying to qualify for Paris 2024. His sport is judo, and he won gold in his sport in Tokyo. And he's registered blind. He has a very rare eye condition, and I work with him. So it's fascinating. And a lot of the work I do with him is actually arranging for him to speak to places, moving him around, as well as telling his media stories. I also work with his wife, Louise Hunt Skelly, a former Paralympic wheelchair athlete. She, at the height of her career, reached number 10 in the world. I mean, how many of us can say we're actually in the top 10 of anything
Amazing.
in the world? Yeah, she is amazing. She's very inspirational. I'm very blessed to work with them. Today, as we're recording this, I've been with TV presenter and antiques expert Paul Martin. I work with Paul. Yeah, he's one of my clients, and I help keep his profile high. He has a new series in May going out on Channel 5 called The Great Auction Showdown with Paul Martin. So that's really exciting. So people will start to see Paul on Channel 5, but also he is head of valuations at an auction house in Wiltshire, so he's still very present in the local community. So I went along to see him today. I work with Malmesbury Town Council in the Little Wiltshire town of Malmesbury, which is fantastic. I love doing that. I do that, and I collaborate with another freelance PR person, Joe Smythe, on that. So I'm a great believer in collaboration. I work with, Julianne Poonen. I've worked with Julianne, must be close to a decade now, right from when she was making her first snacks in the kitchen and touting them around her community. She just happened to tout them at a business show near me, and I tried them and we got talking. And then she went away, but she appeared on Dragon's Den.
She did.
That was the catalyst. She appeared on Dragon's Den and she got funding. And during the due diligence process that happens afterwards, she began to get cold feet, and someone suggested she should talk to me, and I did talk to her at length, and she took my advice, and as a result of that, we've worked together ever since. And I'm just very lucky. I come from the point of view that I really want to work with people that I like, that I get, and that get me. And that's really, I'll train almost anybody, but the retained thing is so deeply personal. It's a financial commitment for people, so they've got to get on with you. So I've recently started working with a lovely lady who's an expert in menopause. She helps businesses become menopause friendly, called Kate Usher. And she'll be coming along to the awards event with me as one of my guests. So you'll meet Kate. And that's quite exciting. She doesn't work with individual women. She works with businesses, so based in London. And I work with Taz Thornton, who's a business and empowerment coach in the Lincolnshire area.
That's right. So our best coach winner, I think, 2016, I think she was. Yeah.
That's right.
Amazing woman. Amazing woman.
Yeah.
So I think our paths had crossed quite a bit before we kind of came together a couple of years ago when you came on board as a sponsor of the awards, because we kind of knew all these people in common, which is the power of social media and the power of connection. Because I actually think the small business world is actually quite small. It's smaller than people think it is, and lots of people know people. So it's always about be on your best behaviour and always be kind to people, because you never know what's going to come back.
That's right.
So many people know each other. Oh,
that's
so
right.
that's lovely. So you've got loads of success stories. And what I love about you, Fiona, is you're very honest with people. And if you think you can help them, you will be honest. And if you think you can't, then you'll tell them that as well. And that's what I like.
Oh, thank you. I do, because I just don't think you have to understand what PR is. You have to understand it's a marathon and not a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand it's not sales. That's a separate, aligned discipline, and you do have to be good at selling. And you have to put skin in the game. Even if you're paying someone like me, I can't be you. I can't have your knowledge. And therefore, if you want to work with someone like me, you have to liaise with me, and we have to plan our stories. I mean, I'll just give you one simple example. I had 2 clients who were in the London Marathon. So I'll be working with them now to put their marathon story out there. And also, I guess the other tip is, if you're doing an event, it's not just one story, it's usually several. You have to plan several stories. I mean, you don't talk about the business. You don't talk about your awards just once, do you, Debbie?
No.
Everybody knows. You have to talk about it multiple times. Yeah, well, it's almost the same with the media, but you have to judge per story. Is that a story that's worth 1 shot or 2 shots, or could we even get 3? You know, you have to judge that with a story.
That's such good advice. And there's so much that can come as a spin-off from PR. From, like, we've had some of our winners on BBC Breakfast and the Victoria Derbyshire show, and Aisha Nayar has got her own slot on Rip Off Britain and the Steph's Lunch show. So there are a lot of opportunities. Not everybody's going to get those opportunities, obviously, but there are so many that actually, from that initial press release, it can literally snowball. And, you know, you're getting in front of probably your ideal client as well. Because, like you said, if it's in the local area to you, and also don't forget industry press, I would say, don't you think? Get something in your industry press if you can.
I think what you have to remember with sector press is that if it's a month, I can't know, let's just say Fixture and Fittings magazine, you know, there are magazines for everything under the sun. But if you find a sector press magazine that is really important to you, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the editor. Are they going to write about you, Debbie, every single month? No, they're not.
No.
They're not. So either you make use of them maybe writing about you once or twice a year, or you go for an advertorial package, because you know the right people are reading that particular publication, might be on or offline. So then you get on the phone. I do this for several people. So I have a client, he's called Aaron, and he's a specialist and he's an expert in chemical distribution across the UK. So that's quite niche. And there aren't many magazines that cover chemical distribution across the UK. And in fact, there's one.
I heard about the name of this, and it absolutely cracked me up the other day.
Oh yeah, no, that's a different one. There's a main one. And, you know, and I got on the phone with him and did a deal so that he could, from 1 year, appear fairly regularly across that year, because that's absolutely where he needs to be. However, in this case, we did have a random
You've got to share the name of that magazine.
Yes,
that is so funny.
From a magazine I'd never heard before. I got an email saying, "Can we use this story, Fiona, please?" From Lube magazine. L-U-B is Lube magazine. I was thinking, what? Anyway, it's just something to do with engineering lubricants, okay?
I love it. No, I know. It just, when Aaron mentioned it, it just made me laugh, because I just thought, oh God, you know, yeah, I'm in Lube Weekly, you know, or whatever it is, Lube Monthly. It just made me laugh. It just made me laugh. And that in itself is quite an amusing story to share on social media, if anything.
Yeah. I have suggested, once the article comes out, that it's something that Aaron and I should talk about. But yeah, I think with sector press, you do need to think that they will charge according to the sector they're in. So if it's construction, for example, and they're going out to a construction audience, expect big numbers and always negotiate. There's always a deal to be done. But generally with the other press and local press, they want to write about local people. So spread the love, spread your stories over a period of time. Don't send them 3 stories in a week just because you've got a lot going on and then you don't have any contact with them for 2 years. That's not going to work. You've got to be more strategic than that.
Well, you have shared some great information. So if you missed the start of this live, go back and watch it, because I can see people have been joining throughout, because Fiona has given you a template of what to put in a press release and what to do rather than what not to do, and some great tips. So watch the start of the live again, and we will put the details of your event in June in the links, and make sure you connect up with Scott Media, because you're all over LinkedIn, Facebook, the whole lot, aren't you? You've got lots of ways of connecting up with you on Instagram as well. And your lovely team. I was at the Great British Business Awards the other day with the lovely Hannah, who's one of your team. So that was really nice to see her and some of the people that, you know, are in your world. Because I think Jamie's in your world, who was one of the speakers. Is he in your world?
Yes. He is in my world, He's done loads of training with me. He's a lovely man. He's a lovely man.
His talk was amazing, and he talked all about climbing Everest, and this man was told he'd never walk again, and he was in a wheelchair. Amazing story. So yeah, you've got some great people in your world.
Yes, I do. I'm really, really lucky. and you're in my world too, Debbie.
Oh, thank you. Well, anyway.
I'll be in your world in October.
You will. Yeah. So just to summarize, go and watch the start of this live if you missed the start, to get your tips on press releases, or connect up with Fiona, or go to her day and meet the lovely Liz Perkins as well. And if you're thinking about entering the awards, Fiona's sponsoring the Best Solopreneur category again this year, which showcases the very best people working on their own. They're not limited companies, they're literally working on their own, doing their thing. But we've got 18 other categories as well. So have a look, and entries close on the 6th of June at 6 p.m. So all you have to remember is 666. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in another live soon. Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you.